Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. 100 plants to feed the bees. Now, we all know and heard of the problem with bees and that it's shrinking, but also that we rely so heavily on them for their pollination factor on many, many crops that farmers are starting to put their own beehives into orchards, etc., in order to guarantee fruit and pollination. Often fruit will not set well without being cross-pollinated. So in other words, two different varieties of, let's say, sweet cherry. But to get there, they can rely on the wind or they can work with the bees. And there are other pollinators, not just bees, but in this case, this is a book which focuses on feeding the bees. Because they're making honey, yes, and they're pollinating our plants, but it's also for them to be able to eat as well. So people don't realize that it's all of that. And this book that I'm going to talk to you about is called 100 Plants to Feed the Bees. It's designed to allow you to provide a healthy habitat to help the pollinators thrive. Now, this book is published by Story. It's distributed in Canada by Thomas Allen & Sons out of Markham, Ontario. And let's put it this way, it is a very good book. Now, the reason I like the book is the fact that it gives you the area that a plant is going to appear in. So that when you're talking about, let's say, penstemon, it's going to tell you that it can be anywhere in North America, okay? But not all of them. Some of the plants are only good from California or the West Coast or the southern states or certain parts of the United States or part of Canada. So it's important that you match where these plants go because the bees have to be there too. So it's a combination. You got to have both, right? Now, penstemon is a pretty good one in the fact that, yes, the average sugar concentration of the nectar in penstemon is about 37%, which is good. But it also attracts many other things. I mean, let's be honest, hummingbirds like it too, right? So there is that extra incentive. It is so important that it grows in many different places. So I want you to go and think about where you could put it into your garden. It is very ornamental. It is a pollinator, a nesting material, or a host plant for caterpillars, right? Wildflowers, meadows, and used in prairie restorations as well, and it also is often found in hedgerows, which often means that you can also put it on the edge of a forest. Now, its bloom time is summer. The flower color can be white, pink, purple, or red. Maximum height's 4 feet. The moisture content for the soil is average to dry, and the exposure is sun to part shade. So here we got the basic penstemon doing a job for us at the same time, giving us color, etc. And all this information is all nicely done on 2 pages. So it's very concise. Easy to look up, okay? You know, the red-flowered ones attract the hummingbirds and sphinx moths, etc. So there are good things about this plant, but there are many others. So the book also breaks it down into native wildflowers, native trees and shrubs, introduced trees and shrubs, introduced herbs and ornamentals. This is the easy one. Like, we can all do this one. simply because we want to benefit from them too. How many people out there can grow lavender and catnip and basil and borage and hyssop and mint and oregano and rosemary, Russian sage. I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of that around. Thyme. Well, we never have enough time, but anyways. Native and non-native bee pasture plants. Now, these are often used in pasture lands. So you're looking at a whole different group. But one I really recognized and didn't think it would be more of a pasture type plant was scarlet runner beans. But that's where it goes. I mean, mustard, clover, buckwheat, alfalfa, radishes, sweet clover, and vetch. Okay? Think of all the vetch that the highways have planted in Ontario along the sides. Those pink flowers you see that act like a ground cover, that's a vetch. So we do have some out there, and there are many, many others that you can go and put into your garden, work in, whether it's a couple of here, a couple there, different ones. Bee balm, another great one, right? For this area. And let's be honest, I like Earl Grey tea as much as the next guy. But many of the plants are all broken down very nicely so that you can go and get and take a look at the different plants and work them into an existing garden quite simply. And that's pretty neat. Now, I really don't think you're going to be growing oranges to attract your honeybees, but who knows, okay? Maybe you're growing oranges in containers and you're bringing them in and out. Well, they work as bee food as well. It also ends up, I don't know if you'll consider it, nesting material or a caterpillar host plant. Well, it's different. And of course, they're edible and herbal and medicinal. So, different kinds. And magnolia is in here as well. Now, inkberry, we can grow here. We do. And it's not common, so you probably have one heck of a time looking for it. But there are magnolias that also do attract butterflies, even though they may not be butterflies here that can actually feed off of it. We're not sure. But we've been growing more and more magnolias farther and farther and farther north. So we'll see as well. There are some nice ones. I grow lovely magnolias, so we'll see what happens. If you're looking for a good book on plant material to add to your garden to help feed the plants and the bees, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to feed the whole area because they're going to set fruit, etc. 100 plants to feed the bees to provide a healthy habitat to help these pollinators thrive. And it's published by Story Publishers, and it is distributed in Canada by Thomas Allen and Sons. If you'd like, go to www.thomasallen.com, and there's a hyphen in between Thomas Allen. So that way you'll be able to get their listing of other books as well as this one. Strongly recommend this one. Would give this one a plant rating of at least 4 stars. Maybe even 5, because the photography in here is fantastic. The information is so succinct and easy to read and easy to follow. So let's give it a 5 stars. That means it goes into my library. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.